right, welcome to your magic moon message, ladies and gentlemen. This is the peace dealer. The moon is in Gemini, the sun is in Aries, and this is a pretty epic cycle of activation. We are quite literally expressing the language of this new and original direction you are walking in alignment with, of course, the cycle relative to the northern hemisphere with spring. The beauty of the equinox is now the timing of light becomes equal. The day becomes equal to the night. This leads towards the summer solstice, where we will come in to have more day than the night. It is actually this that governs more how we set our understanding of astrology, of course, through the zodiacal understanding with the seasonal intersections of the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn with the Earth's celestial equator and the sun's ecliptic path. So as the sun is going through 9 and 10 degrees Aries, which if we're looking at the constellations, it's in Pisces, right? But the reason why we don't say it's Pisces season is relative to the shift of the equinoxes, regardless of the precession of the equinox, because we do not base this on the constellation. Regardless, now that we've had the new moon in Aries, and then we've had the moon in Taurus with Uranus activating this unconventional sense of wealth, the final part of activation is the expression. So let's talk about it. We've reset the game board. That new moon in Aries defines this new cycle. Taurus is now the fixed quality of how we're grounding this action. So we have 3 stages of activation. This is going to be preceded by 3 stages of integration. The moon in Cancer, the moon in Leo, and the moon in Virgo. Okay. Everything we've activated, we will begin to now tie together. If we're now creating a new beat, because it's Aries season. So now, if we're a beat producer, the nature of this new beat is going to represent a new direction in your production journey. You are going to make a new original type of beat that maybe isn't what you're used to making. Anyway, the activation phase of a new moon cycle is the part of the beat making process. Or if you're a chef, I always like to use this example, you're making a new meal, right? This new meal reflects who you are as a chef. So people usually know you for making certain dishes. You're not just switching it up. You're making something new. And like the way people look at you now is reflected by this meal. I'm not a chef, by the way. That being said, I like to use the analogy of beat making or producing and then chef, because it's literally the same thing. Okay. You have the activation phase where through the new moon, the 30-degree angle and the 60-degree angle, in this context, the moon in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, you're activating the set. So you are bringing all the instruments, all the drums, all the hi-hats, all the kicks. If you're a chef, you're bringing all the ingredients, the condiments, you know what you have on your list, right? And this phase is you activating the meal. You're activating the beat. Everything that's going to be a part of this finished product, you're lacing out. This is the identity of what you're creating. So we had the new moon in Aries, which was you deciding to move in this direction, activating this. Taurus moon was where you now brought the ingredients. This is where, okay, this is the quality of this meal, right? This is what, before we put it together, the individual components, because these are individual signs. And now Gemini is where we begin to sort it together. This is, Gemini answers what it is. Okay, these are the hi-hats, these are the kicks, these are all the drums we're gonna use, right? These are the ingredients we're gonna use for this. These are the spices, right? These are the main core of the meal, and we're actively understanding what. Now, the purpose of this is once we step into the later half, the moon in Cancer, Leo, Virgo, when we begin to integrate, we're going to take all of these parts, we're going to begin to put it together. We're going to start tweaking. Okay, let's put this hi-hat with the drums. Tick, tick, tick. We haven't finished the beat yet, though. We haven't finished the meal. We're starting to throw the spices in the pot. We're starting to heat everything up. That's where we put it together, so that by the time we're at the full moon in Libra, after the moon is in Virgo and everything is together, we've cooked the meal, right? We've have the beat pattern and the song's almost done. When the moon's in Libra, we present the beat to the artist. Here's the finished beat. By the time the moon's in Capricorn, the artist has recorded their song on the beat. It's complete. By the time the moon's in Capricorn, we've served the meal. But when the moon's in Libra with the full moon, we're taking 2 weeks since the new moon and we're serving that meal to the people. We're presenting it. Moon in Libra is where, and Libra is where now the presentation of the meal is very important. Yeah, it might taste good, but how does it look, right? We're not there. We're in the moon in Gemini. So now we're communicating what we even want this meal or beat to be. And that's, I'm biased because I'm Gemini, but this is where now that we have activated who you are newly and what the value of that is, what does that sound like? What value are you communicating? And what is the mindset you are activating that aligns with the authenticity you are aware of in Aries you are actively stepping into? The individual actions you are taking to reflect this individuality. The moon in Gemini will subconsciously guide you to align the thought process. Let's use myself as an example. What did I decide? What did I affirm stepping into this new moon? I'm sexy. I'm so sexy. I'm getting women spiritually pregnant with 9 kids already. I'm very sexy. And the moon in Taurus allowed me to understand the values and quality that ground my sexiness. I was able to feel my sexy skin. I was able to just hear my sexy voice. And now with the moon in Gemini, the foundation of these values allow me, in standing on these principles, to communicate it. Because now as I am aligning, the moon in Gemini is going to now align my thoughts with, well, I'm so sexy. I think I'm so sexy. And this aligns with now the actions I'm going to be taking as a sexy man. Dripping in chocolate. Okay, you can laugh. It's the truth. So the square to Pisces that the moon in Gemini makes, especially near the end of the cycle, is going to challenge prior beliefs we had to release in order to even step into this. So now, as I am aligning these thoughts, any beliefs that I have that clash with the truth of my sexiness, we have to address. Okay, I'm sexy, but I believe that I'm not sexy enough to talk to this person. No. I am sexy enough to talk to whoever she already think about me. Like this, you don't have to be delusional, because the truth of Gemini provides an intellectual and logical understanding to support your beliefs. So anything that you believe reflected in your actions that must change to align this, you will. In my case, if I have to work out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? If I have to do whatever, this is where coming into now next week, these thoughts, the mindset we are activating will become, in a week from now, everything we're creating a behavior around. So the attitude you are activating must align with these intentions. And this is a beautiful 2 days to just drill in your mind affirmations. Really think as if you are who you say you are. Take action that applies with this. And as the moon goes over Jupiter, this is going to expand and accelerate the activation of this power you are unfolding. The cool thing about this is the angle of abilities. You're expressing the abilities attached to this power, which could represent more sharpness, more alignment, more authenticity. It doesn't have to be like crazy supernatural abilities, albeit the moon is trining Pluto in Aquarius. So there is a supernatural quality to this activation that we have not had in 248 years. And as Neptune has entered Aries, that sextile that the moon in Gemini has made in the beginning which is the first of its kind, is drawing in the true nature of this reimagining of self, having you surrender to what you don't have to do because you already are. That sounds deep, but it may just really be dumb. That being said, a major breakthrough around this period during this time, I think, is going to allow and account for that once again near the end of this transit, the square to Venus and Mercury retrograde, which now by the time the moon is back in Gemini, they're going to be direct. So this is going to be a initial to final review as the moon goes to Virgo of what and how you are actively shifting your beliefs. This lets us know, in light of everything, that you're going to experience very enlightening and powerful realizations that actively shift your beliefs towards what you're working towards. The struggle you experience perceptually is necessary to challenge you out of old thinking patterns. And as this will also sextile Chiron in Aries, and then square Saturn in Pisces, any vulnerabilities in your ego or lack of authenticity will be challenged by these belief systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just be saying I'm sexy, but then when it comes time to forward my advances to a sexy lady, I start like getting cold feet. It would never happen to me. I'm too sexy. Like, I could, yes, it is what it is. It is like, you piece do not like it, but there you go. Okay, so that being said, if you don't sound crazy, you might not be gang. You might really ask yourself how true this is for you. If you're still looking for evidence outside of yourself, that's the problem. I'm not gonna say you have to believe it first, although it'll help. Have fun with this, okay? Because you're breaking in the new language of you today. And we do this every year, but there's of course, different augmented level to this that is translating the beginning, scribing the beginning of this next version of you. And I will always say next version. There's a next version of you, like there's a next iOS update. But this update is now applying a lot of the internal subjective synchronicities that have now created a system of causality and, subjectivity that is going to apply objectively. That Neptune going into Aries is applying all that subjectivity objectively to who you are. And that's enough to induce psychosis, where you have to be okay with facets of yourself you are blind to, or you're not the most proud of, or you are proud of, but you don't want to let get to your head. Because this is really just meant to bring what needs to change or adjust. The slightest changes of your mind can bring the greatest effect. So yes, enjoy this. You're going to be revealed aspects of what you can begin to do that over the next week you will begin to master. All right. So what do you want this meal to taste like? What do you want this beat to sound like? When we get to how do you want this beat to sound like, or how you want the meal to taste like, that's a week from now. Now it's what do you want to begin to create? What are you cooking, right? What are you chefing in the lab? And take your time with it. But that Jupiter expansion, which is going to be the last of 3 Taurus season, and then Gemini season will be the last moon Jupiters we have until it's in Cancer by the summer and we go into a new wave. Okay, so enjoy this. You guys stay blessed as always. Comment down below what affirmations you are going to align with who you are. For me, I'm so sexy. Oh my goodness. I'm so abundant. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm going to take my sexy ass out of here. Y'all save us. And until next time, peace.